Welcome to the exhibition video for In Longing, presented at the Q Art Foundation in New York City from June 3rd to July 14th, 2021. My name is Anna Cahn and I'm the curator of this exhibition. I hope you enjoy this virtual tour featuring the works of artists Alison Chen, SHAWNÉ MICHAELAIN HOLLOWay, Raymond Pinto, Ségolène, and Xirin. In Longing is a poetic and artistic exploration of longing and desire. When I was first thinking about this show, I was reading Ocean Vuong's novel On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous and contemplating his understanding of longing as an inherent component of art viewing and making. He writes, "Is that what art is? To be touched, thinking what we feel is ours when in the end it was someone else in longing who finds us?" Here, longing is visualized as a search for resonance between subject and object. In relationships, whether romantic or spiritual, these borders of self and other are in constant negotiation. I see this as a choreographic-like movement of finding and losing each other, then finding each other again. This kinetic force that is longing may be found in the artistic works here. When you come to In Longing, you will witness vignettes of love, sensuality, sexuality, violence, abjection, passion, seduction, romanticism, and eroticism. The artists broaden these topics by showing us how to touch our deepest urges, reminding us that these moments of the extraordinary may be found in the ordinary. We must ask ourselves how desire is affected by the oppressive systems of patriarchy and white supremacy. How do we move through these gestures of love and yearning, both collectively and individually? With diverse practices of performance, installation, text, and movement, the artists in this exhibition engage with the restlessness of longing while closely drawing us into their inner and outer worlds. As you enter the exhibition through the front gallery, you will see Ségolène's multimedia installation and performance film entitled Rouge Gorge. The title Rouge Gorge is a double entendre, directly translating as red throat or red robin. This kind of liminality is found within the installation and film. We find ourselves in a place between serenity and violence, spirituality and carnality.
Il faut se sortir du gouffre, se tirer par la langue. Il faut s'agripper à ses amis.
She films herself in a field, unearthing soil, vegetation, worms, and reciting her own sapphic love fragments. She guzzles down red wine, nearly choking on its excess, letting the abundance run down her neck and stain her white clothes. Within this sculptural installation, you will find objects such as earth, wine, flowers, poems, a hammer, and a mud-stained framed letter. These items not only visually continue the landscape of the film into the space of the gallery, but are referential to ritual-like vessels meant for spiritual meditation. Ségolène channels these images of religion and profanity, sexuality and abjection as a means of exploring her own queer longing, an ecstatic rapture, moving through a healing process of one's own trauma and pain. Alison Chen's work on paper, In and Out, examines moments of temporality within her own marriage. The work documents her relationship with her partner by listing the dates and times in and out of love from 2005 until today. Within her practice of self-archiving, Chen pronounces her self-determination as well as her own feminine subjectivity within the relationship. I place this piece towards the entry of the main gallery because I think this acts as a kind of score to the exhibition, as it calls upon the perspective of the viewer, daring us to reify and relive our own personal relationships and examining the individual roadmaps we create in navigating our own desires. As you walk into the main gallery, you will see SHAWNÉ MICHAELAIN HOLLOWAY's sculpture, Request, Lure, Response, Reward, or A Covering for the Cage. This piece examines power dynamics surrounding desire, specifically how socio-political hierarchies affect and exclude Black, queer, and differently abled bodies' experiences of embodiment. In the sculpture, a human-sized blanket drapes over a large dog cage. The text digitally printed on the blanket poses such questions as trickery or protection, and who kneels on command. The work references what is known in BDSM as puppy play, in which one person acts like a puppy in need of discipline and submits to the control of a master. Holloway invites us to contemplate our own desires in this safe subspace. The door to the cage is ajar, ready to crawl into. The plush blanket looks soft and silky in a seductive effort to lure the viewer in. At the same time, we as viewers must also confront the power dynamics at play. We may notice our upright vantage point looking down at a place of kneeling, as well as assuming the role of either human or animal. These positions of power and violence reflect upon the violently racist, colonialist history of the animalization of Black femmehood. Holloway's work often demands audiences to mediate between the personal and the political. She calls this exchange between art object and audience choreographic viewership. It is through these moments of tension that we can expand upon our understanding of self and other. The collision of self and other also appears in Xirin's film Hope Eats the Soul. The film is a reinterpretation of Rainer Werner Fassbinder's 1974 film Ali, Fear Eats the Soul. However, the artist questions whether the visceral nature of this love story is changed by the absence of dialogue, as well as the centralization of its non-white subjects. Instead of dialogue, a suite of longing glances and moments of restraint and passion unfurl. A Victorian kissing bench is placed in between the two-channel projection so that two viewers only see one perspective of the love story unfold at a time, much like in a real relationship. This difference in perspective plays upon gendered power structures built within patriarchal romantic relationships, such as submission, domination, and the erotic. For instance, in the visually captivating egg pass scene, the two performers exchange a raw egg yolk between their mouths, back and forth. They take turns assuming the role of dominant and submissive here, and nourisher and nourished. The video is accompanied by 2 new paintings by Xirin documenting past performances. These paintings continue Xirin's inquiry into the concept of the duet and its relation to love, sensuality, and the boundaries of self and other. Raymond Pinto's practice of movement, dance, and installation explores the potential of non-normative, instinctual, and uncontrolled motion. In their new work, What Is Left If I Am Earth, they create their own lexicon of a Black queer ecology of motion through installation and performance. Here, geodes are aligned in a geometric formation with a microphone hovering above them. A performance will activate this installation by turning the mic on as collaborator Fauna Fraser and Pinto move through these movements of cracking open the geodes to reveal their crystals inside. These gestures investigate notions of longing as it intersects with Black queer experiences of being and becomingness. The back wall features another work by artist Alison Chen for One Night Only. This work also explores the role of individualism and union within the artist's marriage. It is a film of performance in which the artist and her partner choreograph the familiar, mundane, and sometimes awkward gestures of intimacy. In the work, 2 bodies embrace and intertwine, legs, arms, fingers as they touch and caress. In a solo gesture, she whips her hair in a mesmerizing gyration, a motion referential to power and sexuality, as well as one of control within the patriarchy. Once again, the place of subjectivity and self-determination here are expanded and blurred between self and other. Here, Chen also offers us alternative images of the erotic, which is so often gatekept by the male gaze. Please accept this invitation to contemplate whether collective longing is truly possible and what that might look like to you. To fully embody our desire also means to touch our wounds, to live our wildest fantasies and sometimes our darkest nightmares. It is here in this moment, on the precipice of flesh touching flesh, that longing lives.